This connection breath is a way of helping to coordinate the whole core system. Now, the core isn't just the front of the abdominal wall that everyone thinks it is. The core is the whole abdominal wall, which is more like a ring. It wraps around the front all the way to the back. We have the diaphragm, which is the big breathing muscle, just sitting within the rib cage here. We have the spinal muscles, and we also have the pelvic floor itself. And this is called the core canister. It's front to back, side to side, top and bottom. And the connection breath is a lovely way to help coordinate this whole system to start to work reflexively and responsively together again. What that means is when we do every little movement, every little thing, the core needs to respond in a way that is adequate for the load or the task at hand. Meaning if you pick up a cup of tea, or if you're picking up a baby with a carrier in it, we need different amounts of work to happen through the core to support that movement or activity. Too little and it can lead to difficulties with leakage or potentially prolapse. Too much and we can get towards too much tension in the pelvic floor and core system. So using this connection breath as a real foundation is a way to start coordinating this system. Now for this, you can do it sitting, you can do it standing, you can do it laying down, whichever position feels better for you and where you're more likely to be able to practice it. So when feeding baby is a good opportunity, when the kettle's boiling, when brushing your teeth, anytime that you have some available time, it's a really good one to practice this. Laying in bed as well is a nice opportunity. So it's usually easier to practice this sitting or laying down. So I'm going to show you laying down in this video. Now, what you might need to hand is a pillow or a cushion, a Pilates ball, not necessary, but can be handy if you have one, just to help perhaps make things feel a little bit easier to coordinate, but I'll get onto that a little bit later. What we're starting with here is just feeling the breath first. Now, we want to feel in a good setup first. So we want the rib cage ideally stacked over the pelvis. What this means is we're not in a really arched position where the ribs are lifted up and the pelvis is very forwards, because then the pelvic floor and the diaphragm aren't in an optimal relationship with each other to help function. So if this is my diaphragm and this is my pelvic floor, in this position, we're like that. So it's not optimal. So we want to help stack things better. So just making sure that my rib cage and pelvis is better aligned. Now to help with this, it can be helpful to have a pillow or a block behind your head. I'm someone who needs a block behind my head to help feel this better. Now what we're doing is letting ourselves inhale in a 3D expansive full way. That means we're breathing into the lower rib cage, we're letting the abdomen expand, and we're letting the pelvic floor stretch and lengthen through the inhale. Not through any effort, just letting it happen. So this can be helpful to have your hands on your lower ribs to help your brain know where we want to breathe into. So we're breathing in wide into the lower ribs, letting that breath come all the way into the abdomen and the pelvic floor, and we're just exhaling in a normal way for now. So just getting to know the feeling of the inhale. Inhaling into the lower ribs, exhale, just letting it go. One more inhale to warm up, breathing into the hands on the lower ribs. And let it go. Once you're familiar with that feeling, you won't need to have your hands on your ribs, and you can do this when holding something or when doing something else, but it's just helping your brain at the beginning to breathe in this way. So for the connection exhale, we want to coordinate the pelvic floor and the abdomen. For some people, it can help to do the pelvic floor first. So for some people, it can help to do the abdomen first. After birth, it can be really hard to connect with the pelvic floor initially. So I'm just going to run through the abdominal movement first and then bring in the pelvic floor. So what we want to do with the exhale is a long exhale, as if you're breathing through a straw or as if you're blowing out 100 candles. And we want that breath to start from the lower abdomen, moving upwards. So what that means is, if I inhale and breathe from the top of the abdomen first, that's what we don't want to do. I'll show you that. I think I did that where you can see. I'll try again. It's hard for me to do this wrong now. I've had practice in doing it well. Not sure if that showed up very well, but as a feeling, we don't want to load through the top of the ribcage first. We want the bottom of the abdomen. Apologies, we don't want the top of the abdomen first. We want the bottom of the abdomen. So this can help with the exhale to have your hands on your lower tummy to start with, and where you feel your hands, that's where we want to start the exhalation from. If you've had a C-section and you don't have good sensation around here yet, or you don't want to touch the area yet, that's okay. Just think about where your pubic bone is, the very front of the pelvis. Imagine your abdomen like a jacket that you're trying to zip up. We're just imagining that we're zipping up from the bottom upwards. So hands onto the lower tummy if you want to. Inhale into the ribs. Exhale from the lower abdomen up. Long exhale, as if you're blowing out through a straw or blowing out candles. Inhale again. And as we exhale, you're wrapping those abdominal muscles together. It's called corseting, as if you're tying and pulling on that corset. The abdominal muscles, the core muscles wrapping together. Inhale again. Exhale. Now after a few of those exhales just with the abdomen, we can start to bring in the pelvic floor. What we want to do with this is that we're imagining that we are either stopping pee, stopping a fart. Not by squeezing everything, it's a very specific movement, though we're not squeezing the butt, we're not squeezing the abs, or not squeezing our inner thighs together. It's just we're using the breath. Use your exhale to help feel that natural lift up of the pelvic floor as you exhale, and then give it a little gentle nudge on the way by helping to lift it up, as if you're stopping a pee, as if you're stopping a fart. If those cues don't work for you, you can also pretending that you're sucking up a smoothie through the vagina, or that you're picking up a blueberry with the vagina, or that the pelvic floor is like a grabby claw at the arcade, and as you breathe in it opens, and as you breathe out it closes and lifts. Okay, that's the action that we're after, the gentle lift up of the pelvic floor during an exhalation. So let's run through an inhale into the lower ribs. Exhale, lower abdomen first. When you feel something happening at the pelvic floor, or even if you don't, just give a gentle little lift to the pelvic floor without crunching and then clenching everything. Continue exhaling. Inhale, let everything relax with control, gentle stretching, lengthening of the pelvic floor as you inhale. Exhale. Abdomen wraps in, pelvic floor starts to lift to come along for the ride as you exhale. Inhale, gently let it go with control. Allow everything to expand. If you're finding it tricky, it's okay. Your body is just getting used to a new way of being at the moment. This will get better with time, but what can help is if you use a soft ball or a cushion in between the knees. And as you exhale, you can just gently squeeze the knees together, and this can help to get more abdominal and pelvic floor activation. So relax the knees during an inhale. Exhale. Lower abdomen, gently squeeze the knees, gently lift the pelvic floor without clenching the buttocks or the abdomen or the jaw. Inhale, gently relax the knees, let the inhalation go the rest of the way through the abdomen and the pelvis. So once you've got all those steps down, you can just start straight from here, or if you don't need the ball, you can just start straight from doing the pelvic floor lift as well as the abdominal engagement with the exhale. And we want to do about 6 to 8 of those at any one time. That would be great. Another way of helping feel a little bit more is if you have your feet up against the wall or resting on a chair, and you can gently press your heels down into the floor, or you can gently press your feet into the wall. That can also help to feel a little bit more of what's going on, but it's a little less easy to get into those positions than otherwise. So it's just, if you're finding it tricky, there are other ways that you can try this.